you can look through this thing and through this thing and through this thing and get some strange like shadow play, feeling of distance. The tree behind it looks very much in a special place, you know. If you can crawl through here and stand there and it's kind of your own tree and maybe no one else is there. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Map Runner video exploring the world using Google Maps Street View imagery. Today I have something long for you, a long linear park, a little bit more of an urban planning architecture topic, and also my first footstep on Spanish land. We'll be going to the eastern Spanish town on the Mediterranean Sea called Valencia. And Valencia's city, the city of Valencia, not that there's another city, Valencia City, city of Valencia, has, of course, an older town here in the middle, then a district which is also kind of called Example, like the district of square blocks in Barcelona. And it has two of these sort of kind of like river canals looking like things, um, around it. And one of them, this one here in the north, I hope you can see that because it has so many footpaths, it's even hard to see that this is green in between. One of these places here is a park. It's around 7 or 8 kilometers long, and it is Spain's biggest park. And it will be very interesting. I would say I will not give you a lecture just now, but rather let's just get into it and have a look at it. Maybe then it's better to explain. Here the park kind of starts. The entrance, not necessarily the main entrance, but one entrance is through these bushes here. And let's just see all the things we can find. Now, this park has not always been there. And for it to emerge, such a prominent plot of land in a big European city is highly contested. Different stakeholders want it for different uses. But sometime in the 60s or 70s, there was a big flood in Valencia, the Rio Turia that flows through the city. Flooded, there was heavy rain, and 81 people passed away. A funny outdoor sport thing. Looks like someone just put it there from home, huh? Bit pathetic. And this flood, destroyed some parts of the city, and the riverbed of the Turia River suddenly became a plot of land different stakeholders were interested in. And one side wanted to build, new offices, new buildings here. And the citizens of Valencia, Spanish people, went onto the streets and demonstrated to turn it into a park. This would also have the advantage that if there was another flood of these little canals, you can see on the little map there's this canal just nearby. I guess we will see it a bit later. Could also then overflow and would find soil for the water to go into, so it wouldn't be such a huge flooding again necessarily. So eventually, this was developed into a park of different sections, led by head architect Ricardo Bofill, famous Spanish architect. Go check him out. I believe he works a lot with stone, but it's a long time ago that I read any architectural books, so I'm just guessing. And anyway, I'm more interested in the phenomenology. I'm interested in what we see and what we can understand about the idea behind it based on what we see. And yeah, this park is different, has different sections of different kinds, different architectures, so I think it should be pretty interesting. One of the first architectures that we will be running into is a famous building by the architect Calatrava, which is this one. I don't know if the bridge is also by him. I don't know if this is also by him, actually. This is the, I don't know, some space for art and science. And we should probably deviate a little bit from the park. Not necessarily to this. Maybe here. Just so that we can have a look at it. Pretty wild, huh? Open structures. I don't know, but maybe he was also the one that built the tower in front of Malmö on the coast that we saw in the crossing the Öresund bridge video. Wow, that's high. Yeah, pretty famous architecture. It kind of just looks like a structure, you know. It looks like the inside of an animal, the bones of an animal, or the I don't know what's it called, the kind of main bone that runs through your back. So that's definitely, if I think about it in terms of tourism, coming to Valencia, this would be a day trip, perhaps half a day, walking through this park, having a coffee if possible, and looking at the different plants, sitting on all the benches, and looking at this mighty piece of architecture. Here the park gets a little less bushy, but it is true, it seems to me that there's loads of pathways in this park. There's like more ways to walk than greenery in some sense, which is a little bit confusing. I feel like in a park, I would like to have a little bit of, like you can see in the distance. And this is such a long park, but you cannot see it. And that's similar in other long parks. You think about the High Line Park in New York, the High Line in Sydney. They're all long parks, but they have so different sections that kind of, I mean, it's not just a piece of grass that's long. It's like carefully designed, different accentuations. Here you can go up, have an overview. Look at this crazy architecture. Looks very much also like Zaha Hadid in a way, only a little bit nicer. Yeah, but I don't know, with these kind of glasses here, this to me looks always very cheap. Somehow gives me these like Dubai 1990 vibes. But okay, less complaining. Let's go on. For those who are new to the channel, I'm putting a sock over my microphone so it would serve me a little bit as a wind pop, so that if I'm, pronouncing P's and S's, it's not so sharp in the ear. And the other sound you hear is the sound from the kitchen. Food is being made in the background. But anyway, this park is, I mean, I'd rather have it than not having it, and the idea of it going as a green strip through the city, with a lot of lamps, potentially quite safe, clean, so many different areas to spend time in, depending on what mood you're in, is great. But to me, it looks somewhat over-designed. Like, I'm not talking that I want more desire paths, but it looks so, like, full of stuff. That's kind of my first feeling here. You can get the coffee I was talking about. There's some kind of children's thing. I'm not exactly sure what this is. Can we see us here? No. I really hoped. Are we this? Are we someone on a bicycle? Yes, we are, I think. Well, this is a bin actually. Alright. Let's not lose myself in these random irrelevancies. So, here we are passing a tunnel, but not through here, through here. Yeah, so a little bit over designed, of course very nice. I like it. I want to be here. I want to walk through it. This is nice. Reminds me of Berlin. There's also this. Is this an arcade? Is it just kind of a structure? Could walk underneath. Feel a little bit of shelter. I'm sure this has a name in architecture. This accentuated courtyard with the double column. Rather simple columns walkway. So here again is a more open part, but somehow I don't know how wide is this. 100 meters wide. It's relatively small. Perhaps 150 could be. Undoubtedly, is this a word? Clearly very nice. Is this the flag of the city of Valencia? What are we looking at? Palau de la Música. Can all think for yourself what establishment that would be. Yeah, but this looks very nice. You can see that this was built some time ago, huh? But everything is a little bit tiny. Like it's a long park, but everything is so condensed. I don't know if maybe less design. Feel better just 2 walkways, one left, one right, trees. Of course, you can have different sections and different architectures, and that's a very nice idea. Here you have even one type repeating. But yeah, you see how designed it is, right? You're always running into something new. Water with some tulips or roses inside. I've never seen that before. Maybe it's just paint or ketchup. Looks quite nice. This with these like different plays with water I really love. I mean, I like when you can just sit by the water, even maybe put your feet inside if it's really hot, which I'm sure it gets here, quite hot. Hence all the greenery and the trees. It's a little bit less hot. Yeah, very picturesque. Instagrammable, one would say nowadays. These are the kind of stones I meant when I thought about Ricardo Bofill. Now I don't know if he built this or if he just came up with the master plan of this. You can Google what's it called? Turia Park. Turia. Turia, not Turia. 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 Something like this. This I like a lot. Would probably ride my bicycle into the water. Planning with trees, huh? It's kind of funny how some of them are columns and some of them are trees. So some of them became lampposts and some of them are trees. Well, here it looks a little bit. There's a construction site. There's a metro station nearby. These are vents, probably for the metro station. I would think they let some air in, or you can pour some water on some people walking downstairs. I don't think they let any light in, but I also don't know. This bridge seems to reference the Calatrava building in the beginning, but of course I also don't know. It's probably this kind of thing that tour guides have in their tours, to go to this Calatrava building and talk about this park a little bit. Here I like a bit better because you can look a little bit into the distance. It doesn't feel so stuffed or so over-designed. I think one of the questions is also what advantages come with it for the users if it's a linear park. Now, I've said that there are advantages in case of floods. This park can be flooded, and the other one, maybe we can have a quick look at that later. The other one that is on the map, that we've seen on the map as well. But what's the advantage of a linear park for users? Is it good for cycling? I would think. Perhaps good for running, maybe good for other sports. You chop it up into sections when you plan it, as they have done here, so it becomes kind of like a non-linear park again. Maybe it's easier to work with. Yeah, but it's also difficult. It comes with its own sort of, I guess, requirements. You know, if you think of Central Park or this kind of park shape, the center of that could be a hill, could be a pond. Here you have a canal, at least on the map. There was one earlier. So, yeah, I actually don't really know. I guess the question is also, if something runs through the city, you have to have these bridges for people to cross over the park, which is nice. And maybe actually let's go up one of them, because I'm curious if it's possible to just see a little bit more of the length of the park. Let's go to a previous bridge. Maybe this is more successful. Yeah, here you can assume that this is some longer park. Let me go back a little bit. I'm curious now. Yeah, you see green, but you don't have this sensation that you have on the map, which surprises me a little bit. It's really a park that is thought into different moments, different, spatial situations. Not so much for the viewer or visitor to be stunned or awed, like the Calatrava building, which really wants to like do something to your body, like almost harm you and please you and play with you. This park just wants to be nice, but maybe it wants to be nice a little bit too much. And despite it being nice, I somehow, I don't know. Very nice bridges, and I'm getting the smell of garlic here from the kitchen. But I'm not a cooking channel, so I'm not gonna tell you more about it. This is very, very nice. In a way, I think there's something very likable about architectural elements that are completely unnecessary yet also not. Like it provides, you can look through this thing and through this thing and through this thing and get some strange like shadow play, feeling of distance. The tree behind it looks very much in a special place, you know. If you can crawl through here and stand there, and it's kind of your own tree and maybe no one else is there. But it's also a little bit useless, like you could do without it. It doesn't have a function, but it's precisely in this area of like something has a function that is just for pleasure or accentuation or creating an atmosphere of situation, and being completely useless, where it gets often quite interesting, you know, when the architect isn't actually so restrained by money or by the law, by people or local governments, um, or citizens get involved and they bring in their own ideas, and maybe they can also just unfold their creativity of what they would have to like in this park. Outdoor sports, yeah, would expect to see something like this here. This is May 2012, so it's already quite old footage, but it's not bad, huh? It's just that I'm thinking that everything that is 10 years old is almost like a historic artifact, something like this. Again, it's a little repetitive, I could say that. In the best, I mean this in the best way possible, of course. It's kind of fun to go through as well, because you do have to find the different paths. It's not so much like if you, like maybe I'm missing something, but if you wanted to cycle through the park, it can be a little bit cumbersome. There are just so many ways, and maybe this outer way goes completely through. It's maybe something we should check. Yeah, actually it does, huh? Yeah, okay. This is a nice thing. It's a nice touch. Admittedly, a nice touch. So you can actually use it also to just get from A to B, Initially I thought it was just built for you to constantly kind of enjoy it and, make the most out of it and spend some time there. But since it's a linear park, it's kind of like a green road, a green river. That's how I would call it. It should be necessary to also use it for just getting from A to B. And making this from getting to A to B as pleasurable as possible. I'm a little bit, I don't know, maybe it's just because of when this was shot or something. But what is also missing for me is just this micro architecture of like having different street vendors that sell, I don't know, hot dogs or whatever they eat, or whatever Spanish people want to eat. Coffee, cafes, a place to get some drinks. Like maybe this is here somewhere, but like it's rather empty as well, which is perhaps a little bit strange. And here we are getting almost to the end, which is somehow defined by higher buildings, which is also nice that you see that there's a city around, like this urban nature is a little bit the illusion of like you can create a situation in the city where you feel like this is green, this is peaceful, this reminds me of the countryside. But then you hear a car or you see some high buildings at the horizon, and this kind of takes away from this illusion. And I think for me, for example, urban parks are so nice because they are urban. So I want to see these high buildings, and I want to feel like I'm in the middle of a buzzing city, but I'm sitting here calmly and peacefully, and this makes the joy for me. This like you can take a moment and just be there by yourself, somewhere behind a tree, not on the main walkway, and this is where the pleasure comes from. So now it goes in this what's called biopark here on the map, which it opens up a little bit. Oopsie, opens up a little bit. These red things to climb on are really like everywhere in Europe. These things exist for children. It's one thing children from different countries share potentially. Yeah, so here are different levels. That's quite nice. All right. Could almost some. He's no. He looks. It looks quite empty here as well. I wonder because people raise their arms and wave to me. Is it like somehow clear that I'm from Google? If I'm on the bicycle, especially, do I wear a Google hat? How do people understand the situation so quickly? Am I driving really slowly? And here are the last palm trees of this adventure. Now this was interesting. What I would like to do now is to quickly just have a look how this looks, because this doesn't look so developed in that sense. Yeah, this is just a riverbed of the river that flooded, that is... Yeah, where is this river? I'm so... Could make another video looking for water in Valencia. Now there is a river here. Well, this actually goes into the Mediterranean Sea, which is just over there. And here this river kind of stops, but I guess it also fills up sometimes. Here we have the Calatrava buildings where we just walked through. And this really hugs the city center, these two places. But this one is just not as developed. I don't know necessarily why. I also don't know where the flood exactly was. But I guess these two... There's a word that I like. If there's a flood, you open some floodgates and have some empty spaces in the city. I guess that's also what the LA River is for, or not. The LA River. Bad. And this one actually continues almost all the way. Well, even here it's like a green strip that continues and continues and continues. Like here it's the river again. And here it kind of ends near Bugara. Or perhaps it continues a little bit more. But here in the... Well, actually, I know that... Okay, I don't know how to distinguish just a river from a green strip. But you see this line that goes... kind of comes from here. And actually these two... the park and the riverbed connect here somewhere. Which looks like wasteland. Somehow. But it all has a purpose. So I hope this was interesting to you. And thank you very much for watching. And I hope I will see you for the next exploration. Any ideas, please put in the comments or send me a message. Have a lovely rest of the day. Bye bye.